Hi, I'm Barbara Tusi calling from California, and it's my privilege today to have Jeannie Zedan on from Phoenix, Arizona. But the main thing is talking about and recording our asks. It's there's such a fast-paced thing going on in the States these days and actually in the world. And if you could get a 1-minute video out there asking the right questions all the way around, well, how can that kickstart your business? How awesome is that? In any aspect of your business, right?
Yes.
So I am so grateful, Jeannie, that you're on today, and just take it away. Thank you.
Well, thank you for asking me. This is really, it's going to help cement all of this in my own head too. So it's very, very great. Um, so in the ask, and this is something that I'm learning from Richard Bliss Brooks, which is amazing. And the first thing that he had taught us was that consistency is a number one thing. And when we do record a video, oh, the other thing is everybody you know is your best prospect unless you've alienated them. And so what we are using is our warm market. And I've heard Dave Rolfe talk about that 97% of consultants come from your warm market. So that was the premise. And then he said, you want to talk to someone as if you're sitting on a park bench with your best friend. And so that is how you're communicating to them. You're not pitching, you're not promoting. Um, he said you're going to be real and raw. And he said, otherwise, if you're pitching or presenting, they will not want to be who you are being. And I thought that was really very interesting. They don't want to appear to be like a salesperson or that kind of a thing. So they want to, that people don't want to be pitched, even though I'm a pitchman. So that was kind of challenging for me to not, be all over the place. So he gave us 5 C's, and these are the parts of your ask. And it's really great to have a video because you can send out several in a few minutes. It's not very long. So the first C, well, let me give you the C's. It's context. The second one is challenge. The third is connection. The fourth one is celebration. And the fifth one is your call to action, your CTA. Okay. And so the context is you want to give them enough so that they remember who you are. So if it's someone you haven't spoken to in a while. So he said it's kind of like a once upon a time. When you hear once upon a time, you think of a scenario. So you're going to give them a scenario of it, a short little blip of maybe before. Who are you? What do you do? And I loved it when he said once upon a time because you think fairyland. So in my past, I've done this or something like that. And you'll see in my video. The second part is the challenge. And this is where we need to be very compliant. And compliance today is really important. And he said, you want to think charades. You ever played the game charades? Where you have to kind of work around the box to get them to think about what you're saying without you having to say it. And I thought that was pretty interesting. So if you have some whatever issue it was that you had, we need to be compliant. So it's good to think through that. And then the third is connection. And this he spent a little bit of time on because this is where we help the prospect to see and understand how network marketing works. So he said people are used to, they're used to going online, order from Amazon or whatever. They're used to going online and they understand that. But when it comes to somebody sharing something with them, they need to know who your connection was. How did you hear about it? And so it's, a friend or my boss or a customer, or who was it that shared this with you? And so you don't have to talk about names, but just it could be a friend, or, there I was and so and so came up. Um, how did you know the person that introduced you to the product, and what was your relationship with them? And he said, this is what connects the dots for them. Um, it kind of connects the dots, even though they're not going, oh, whatever, but it'll help them connect the dots to that. And then second part of the connection is, what did that person say to you that caused you to take a look? What was it that they said that went, okay, I'll try it? And why did you listen to them? What was it about them and their message that you trusted so that you tried it? I thought that was really brilliant. And then, so he really spent time on that. So the connection part is really important. The fourth is the celebration. And this is, how are you after using the product? And he said, you want to use hyperbole. And so I had to look up hyperbole. But it's like an exaggeration, but it's not unreal. It's kind of like, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse, kind of a thing. You've heard that statement before. Um, it cost an arm and a leg. You know what I mean? We use hyperbole, so kind of use hyperbole in your, And I think in my video I say, and now my joints are so happy. So it's like, who ever heard of happy joints? So yeah, so think about that. That's your celebration. And the fifth is your call to action. So you want to give them, what are their options? And he gave an example of, 1, 2, and 3. He said, don't copy what I'm saying. He goes, I'm just giving you an example, and you can make up your own, but what do you want them to do? What would you like for them to do? Is this interesting to you at all? Great. What is it that you're interested in? Would you like to know about the product? Are you interested in earning income, extra income, or is none of this? And it's okay, whatever it is. I think at the end of mine, you'll see in a minute, I said, I really appreciate you responding, because what we want is, we want an answer. We want them to say yes or no. We want them to say, hey, I've had so many different responses. I've gotten a stop in capital letters. I've gotten a no, and then they realized it was me and went, oh, I'm sorry, Jeannie. It's you. He goes, thank you for sending this. This is really great, but I'm not interested, and I wish you good luck. You know what I mean? Things like that, so you'll get a variety of responses, but we just want them to respond. And you want to be specific in your call to action too. So you want it to be clear. Clarity is a big deal. I redid my video about 4 times, and I still would like to redo it, but he said this was fine. He said I nailed it. And that's the point that he said, that most of the time people, they fail because they don't like their video enough to send it, or they just never nail it. And so he talked a lot. We spent 3 weeks working on our videos, just, sending them in, getting people to look at them and getting response back. And, one lady did hers, oh gosh, hundreds of times. I didn't do that. I'm like, I'm not doing that. But you want to like it. You want to like it, so you feel good about it. So yeah, the video should be 1 to 1.5 minutes. That's the challenging part. And that's why he said, you need to write it out. Write it out, write it out, write it out. Get those words to be the words you want to convey. And it's really helpful to do that. It's helpful to write it out. And I felt like a writer. I would crumble it up, throw it away, and start over again, And then I had cross outs, and it was fun to craft it. And I finally understand crafting a story, because the words are powerful and they mean things. And so to get what is it you're trying to convey into that right word. So he said 120 to 150 words when you write it out. I never did that. I never counted my words. Yes. But you want to get a lot of candid feedback and you want to get help and you just revise it until you love it.
Mm.
That was the big thing. And we started in January, and February 1st is when we started sending out 4 people a day, shared our nailed it video. And yeah, it's pretty amazing. So
So wait, you were doing 4 people a day. So now you've got this great video that you put on. We'll see it in just a little bit. So then, how long, when did you start doing the 4 a day?
February 1st.
February 1st. Okay. So you've had a month. How 4 a day of, did you do
Yeah,
more than 4 a day of the video?
you can. In fact, the first day I sent 6, and I thought all these things went through my head like, oh my God, I'm going to run out of people. The reason why he says 4 a day, the reason why is because typically 1/4, 25% of well, you want to get down to 1 ask a day. And so out of 4, you should get 1 ask, one person that says yes to watch the video.
Hmm.
Okay. So you're asking them to watch your video and responding. And you can create he gave us some little ideas of what to send in the text or in the email. Somebody who gave you some ideas to get you started. And he worded those. The thing that he worded, he said, I'm going to take claim to this one, is that would you honor me by watching my video?
Mm.
And he said, instead of saying, I'd really love it if you do this, but would you honor me? And, people that know you and that respect you and love you, they are going to say yes. So it gives you, they're going to watch a 60-second, 90-second video. Mine, I say, is about 90 seconds, but it's close to that. So I want to exit full screen and I'm going to look we have a tracking sheet.
Okay.
Tracking is really important. He has a stat tracker. And so for February, and we track 4 things. The first one is how many asks we have. The second is the stories told. The third thing we track are presentations. And the 4th thing is enrollments. And an ask is just asking someone. You may or may not receive a response. The stories told is when you inspire somebody to listen to your story. The presentation is when you present your full opportunity with the intention of them enrolling to build a team. It's okay if they join just to buy the product as long as you presented the whole opportunity. And of course, enrollments are when they join your team. So in the month of February, I had 110 asks, which blew my mind. I had 36 stories told, 0 presentations, and 0 enrollments.
How many
And
stories
so
told?
36.
And so that means you had a conversation after
I
the
had
video?
texting back and forth. I
Okay.
had conversations with a few. I
Mm-hmm.
had breakfast with one who had said, for the business, not right now. She wants to improve her own health. And I had breakfast with her last week. It was really fun. But the thing is you get people in the process and then you stay in touch with them. You stay in touch. And what I have learned is that it's not going to happen overnight. I want it to happen now. I want them to say yes. But all they've seen is your 1-minute video, your 1-minute miracle is calling it. That's all they've seen. And so now it's a process finding out, okay, what is it you're interested in? I've had to ask a few. because they'll go, yes, I'm interested. Okay, in what? I'm learning to ask questions, which I've never been a very good question asker. And so I'm learning to ask questions. And Richard Brooke calls this, you're spreading breadcrumbs, little breadcrumbs. You know how if you have breadcrumbs like this, and here comes the little chicken picking up the breadcrumbs. So they move towards you. And each person's going to be different and all of that. But it's really very exciting to see it happen. And he said, you're just getting started. He goes, imagine having a stat tracker. He talks about that tracking things too, because in a year, let's say in a year from now, you've got a story to tell. You can speak from your stat tracker for your team. You can see your own progress. You can see where you need help. So just Tuesday night, this past week, we have Tuesday night trainings, coaching sessions. I was on the hot seat. And so he was asking, I role played with him, which was like, and he gave me, it was really, really very good. But he goes, okay, let's transfer these asks. He goes, you've done really good. This is really good stats for 30 days, 28 days, whatever. Let's talk about getting them to a presentation. And so we did that in a conversation, and it was brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's show the video that you got.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can bring that up. That'll be awesome.
Okay, here we go. Y'all see this? I don't know what let me see. What's that?
That'll go away. Yeah.
Hi. Some of you may remember that my husband and I have demonstrated kitchen gadgets for over 30 years. When I was approaching 50, my joints began hurting so badly that it affected my work. And I was tired all the time and I couldn't sleep very well. And the most important thing was, if I didn't show up for work, being self-employed, there was no money that was coming in. And I was panicked about that. There's a quote that says, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. I really believe that was what happened for me when a friend of mine, a very trusted friend of mine, asked me if I was open to trying a natural energy product that could possibly help me. I said yes. And, I actually felt a difference in my body by the end of the day. I was thrilled about that and really encouraged. I shared it with my husband and he felt better too. We began sharing with other people from there. She had mentioned also an intriguing business model. So today, fast forward, I have more money in the bank. I have more energy. I am sleeping so very well. My joints are very, very happy. So tell me, are you putting up with some kind of a physical issue you're tired of putting up with? Or maybe you're interested in more income? Or maybe none of this is interesting to you. Any of those answers would be fine, and I really appreciate you responding. And I thank you for watching.
Okay. Awesome, Jeannie. That's great. That's amazing.
I loved it. And you know what I mean, because certainly you covered all those areas, but you know what I liked about it? It wasn't super perfect. It was like you started to say something and then you sort of corrected yourself. And I mean, that's what we do when we're talking to each other on the park bench, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it just felt really natural.
Good. I wonder if I can say hurt. So
in the video.
Yeah. So that I caught this time.
Hurt all over.
Yeah, I said my joints hurt so bad.
It's not a diagnosis.
It isn't hurting.
No. Yeah.
And then you didn't say that you're miraculously cured. You just said, I have happy joints now.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I say stiff and achy.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a word.
Mm-hmm. It's a good word.
But I like your three, I was listening a little bit more. You dribbled a tiny bit about intriguing business model. I think you said
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah.
And I missed that the first time you said it, but you know, it gets in, you just, but to make a note of like, what am I wanting to say or what am, and
Mhm.
I do recall your call to action, and I chuckled at the, and you may not want to do anything, you know, like you may not want to do anything. And I thought, that's great because when I was taught before, people, you start asking people and they're moving back, right? They're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But the minute you say, I don't care if you do it or not, they're, you know, they come
Mhm.
back in and they relax to
Mhm.
be able to ask you questions and stuff. So,
Yeah.
hey, great.
One note about business too is I've learned from Richard Brooks is that it's really not good to say business either, because people start thinking, oh my God, a business. I don't want a business. So better to say, I forgot what he said now to remember it, but
Money,
yeah,
money's a,
um,
I mean, we have to watch how we say money or how much money, but you did underline that with, you know,
mhm,
now you have multiple sources of income. Now you've got
right. Yeah.
diversity of your income.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where it is about business, but I'll have to find it and see. But I've just caught that when I watched it again too. But yeah, and I've had many different responses, which is great. The idea is you get somebody to respond and then you can create. I've had people say no, but yet they keep the conversation going. And so you can send them a little article about something they're interested in.
Mm.
And then later on, you may go back to them in 2 or 3 months just to visit them again because situations do happen. I've learned a lot about follow up and the importance of it. I've always heard, the fortune's in the follow up, and it truly is because um, let's keep in touch. Let's, and who's kind of who you want to have in your business and in your, God, now that's going to bother me, the business thing. Anyway.
Now, one thing you said to me the other day was, because I said, yeah, with all the things coming at us in life and that, to block that 90 days and do it every day consistently versus I'm going to do it 3 days a week or,
Oh, yeah. No, he and Mike DiMuccio said this too,
yeah, yeah.
that it's the consistency, the penny doubled every day story. That is 1 point whatever million or 5 million. No, it's 5 million and some change. Every other day is $163 or something. And so it's the consistency and the compounding is what that's about, the compounding.
Mm.
And what I love with our technology today is that when you have a little short video to send people that's only 60 to 90 seconds, people take the time to watch that and something's going to catch their attention or not. But on our end, it takes 15 minutes, you know, to send these out. And I have worked it into, and then the idea we're doing this for 60 days in the program. And of course, we want to continue. Um, Another thing, if you have a lot of contacts in your phone, I'm on the D's in my phone. All my people are in by their first names. So I'm on Debbie's and Deborah's and that kind of category. So and then the other thing too that I'm starting to understand or realize again too is I need to continue to add to my list. So there are people that I know that I don't have their information in my phone. And so I am working on that, adding them to my list
Mm.
and putting them in my phone with a note. It's always important to put a little note about where you met them or what happened. I've run across 2 or 3 that I'm like, oh, gee, I think I remember them. But one of them has been in 2011, I think was the last time we contacted each other. But they're in my phone. And so, you know, go in there, hey, and he said, you want to be authentic? Yeah, Richard Bliss Brooks is all about being authentic. And so you don't want to go in and say, hey, how you doing? How are the kids? Watch my video. So get to the point. Hey, give them a little point of contact so they'll remember you if you think they might not remember you have met, but they may not. Give them a context. Like the last time I saw you was at the Oregon State Fair, then they'll go, oh yeah, the fair. Oh, that's Jeannie, or the girl that demonstrates whatever, and then get right to the point. So, and then if there's conversation after that in a text, yesterday I actually had one of my friends, I haven't spoken to her in a long time. She actually called me. She was going out to shovel snow. And she said, I just wanted to hear your voice, Jeannie. And we talked for 2 minutes. And I went, that blessed me so much. I was like, oh, that was so cool. So she was excited that I thought of her.
That's
So,
awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome. Now, do you have a preference for email or text messaging, or is there a rule around?
I like text. I have done some emails, but that's because I didn't have a text for them.
Oh, okay.
Some of them I have down as mobile numbers and they're landlines.
Okay.
So I think texting is my preference, but also is it their preference? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I want to give you a little example. There was one follow-up I did, which was funny because I didn't hear back. Follow up 24 to 48 hours. That's another thing I'm learning. Oh my goodness. You need to keep track, have some way of tracking your people, and what you said to them and when you sent the video. And, so Sherry Danzig had mentioned less annoying CRM. And I thought, well, I like the name. It's very basic and simple, but you can track that way. And I downloaded that. They have a free 30-day trial, and it's $15 a month after that. And they don't, it's not an extensive, it's not like MailChimp or any of that. It's basic following, and I like it. But anyway, I sent a follow-up to this gal and I said, I know, and I got this idea from Richard Bliss Brooks. I know I'm not the most, I know I'm not your first priority of the day, but, kind of being candid, but I'm just checking to see if you actually got to watch my video. And she came back, LOL. She goes, I am definitely interested. I just have this and this and this going on. And he had reminded us that, remember, don't start thinking in your head about what's going on in their life. They may have been going to respond to you and their child threw up or something. You know what I mean? It could be, life goes on. And so don't hesitate to follow up. It's an act of caring about them. So I thought it was kind of funny, but I did use that and she came back and thought that was hilarious. I am interested. She's doing a bodybuilding competition. She said, I'm interested in products, but I'm not doing anything or changing anything until after my competition on April the 8th. So I said, great, we will talk after that. So, put that on your calendar, so it's fun. It's an adventure. But the idea is daily, 4 asks, and then you get a lot in the hopper. It gets crazy in one way, Yeah. So
That's awesome, Jeannie. Thank you so much for coming on today. I think we're gonna have you back. We'll probably have our videos that we do, and then we'll have you critique with us.
do it. No, I mean, do it. Make a little short video and we can watch each other's. I'm sorry I went long.
No, that's okay. That's perfect. All right, guys, hang on.